If I could only figure out how to get my team motivated.
We are never going to get this project done on time.
Oh my God, my payroll numbers are insane. Why are we having all this overtime?
Do you have these or similar employee problems? Do you feel like some of your employees are just there for a paycheck? Tired of recruiting, interviewing, onboarding, and training just to find out you must do it all over again? Then it's time for you to find out how to have outrageously awesome employees. Sit back, buckle up, and get ready because we're about to drop a knowledge bomb on you. Please welcome to the mic the host of the show, the man who puts the human in human resources, the 007 of team building, the emperor of employee engagement, Randy Starr.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of How to Have Outrageously Awesome Employees. Today, we have a very special guest. She's in New York City where they're experiencing a heat wave right now. So have some pity on her because it's blazing hot up there. Charece Newell. She is the Chief Human Resources Officer and certified corporate life coach at Your Healthy Reality. That was tough, Charece. You had the long.
Yeah. You did good.
How are you doing today?
I am doing great because I'm in my AC. So all is well, not to worry. And
you need to stay there because
I am.
Yeah, it's crazy hot up there. So excellent.
It's absolutely hot.
Hey, so we like to start these off so that everybody listening kind of gets a feel for you. Tell us about your background, who you are, what you've done, positions you've held, companies you work for, and what you're doing right now.
Sure. So I've spent the last 15 years of my career as a human resources executive, working for organizations, on a national scale, with employees ranging anywhere from 600 to 6,000. And the majority of my experience actually lives in healthcare industries such as behavioral health, home care, hospitals, assisted living, medical groups, so on and so forth. But currently, I do serve as the Chief HR Officer for Your Healthy Reality, and I'm also a certified corporate life coach. And Your Healthy Reality, we provide strategic HR consultant services. And I've decided, this is actually my company as well, just so you know, I've decided to incorporate personal and corporate life coaching into that because I think it's very, very important for organizations to start providing such services to their employees. And with that being said, Your Healthy Reality, we provide executive and leadership development, performance and career coaching, as well as learning and development workshops. We do engagement strategies as well as mergers and acquisition support.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yes, it's a lot to swallow.
I know, right?
But I love what I do. It's awesome, actually, that I'm able to now, incorporate the life coaching into HR because it's something that I've always done throughout my career at any organization that, I've worked for. But now being able to touch a wider audience and because I'm tapping into more organizations than just one is really, really great.
Yeah. I haven't talked to any human resources professional yet that wasn't just completely in love with what they do.
We love it.
You have so much impact. You affect so many different lives outside of your own, and not just the employees at the company, but see the spillover or the crossover or whatever you want to call it. When they go home, that all spills over into their family too. So it's such a big impact. And I think that you love it. That's the key. You love it. That makes you successful. And
yes,
just imagine the impact you have when you're working with 600 to 6,000 employees. Wow.
Huge.
Yes. And it's a big responsibility too.
You know what? I'm glad you said that because I've always said to every CEO and all the executive and management and every organization that I've worked for that HR do carry the weight of the organization on our back.
I agree.
100%.
Yep.
And it's been, such a big, argument to me in every organization to get management to realize that hello, we serve as, I like to put it in this term, the mom of the organization, where you have to know when to be soft, you have to know when to scold, you have to always be there, and you are that face, and you're that trust factor that the employees need and they see. You want that buy-in from the employees. They have to be able to come to you and say, hey, this is what's going on, with my cousin, with my mom, with this, and viewing the organization as a family, Randy, is so important, because that's what we are. We're a family, and HR is leading that dinner table, so to speak.
I don't think you can go into any successful organization and sit down and just go through and handpick 15 or 20 employees, set them down at a round table and have a discussion with them and not have them say family. I don't think it's possible. I think you can go into many organizations that are not run properly or have room to grow to get to where they need to be, and that wouldn't happen. But I have a great opportunity that a lot of people don't. Since we do employee engagement surveys, I've read over 1 million comments from from hourly employees. I read them all. Every one that we get, I read it.
You must be hearing some good stuff.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, it's weird. It's how it started, was to get funny stuff, because some of them are just hilarious. the really good organizations, and it doesn't have to be a good organization. It could be a unit inside the organization that has leadership within it, that they feel like they call it, they say that many, many times, family. I feel like I am at home when I'm at work. And that's you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what makes success. And it's unfortunate that you have to even have a dialogue about that.
You do.
Yeah.
Because I think it's unfortunate, but it's also fortunate for me that I can have that dialogue, because it brings a different perspective to the table when you open up, that avenue and have management think about it that way, because I really think they're so busy trying to make numbers and get to that bottom line and get success in other areas, and not realizing one of the major things you need to do that's going to help you with your bottom line is just view your employees as if they're part of the family.
Yes. And
treat them as such.
Right.
So it's the easiest conversation I could actually have, and it has worked for me throughout the years once that happened. Yeah.
That's phenomenal. Okay, so moving on, you have obviously had an awesome career in the last 15 years with multiple companies, even though it was focused mainly in healthcare. But tell us what it is about human resources that is so interesting to you personally that made you continue on in that field.
Okay, well, don't laugh. I'm going to be very honest why I started out in human resources many moons ago. So I originally actually started my career in marketing, believe it or not. I have a bachelor's in marketing. And the real reason why I made that transition in my early 20s was because I was very nosy. And at the time, I felt, I'm very serious. At the time, I felt like, well, every time you would see an employee go into, the HR department and they come out crying or something happened, you're like, well, what's happening? I wanted to know what was happening, and I was not in the know. So that was the real reason why I made that transition. However, here's what I discovered, just like you and I were talking about earlier about change, and you just never know where you're going to end up. And, you start off with one thing and you end up somewhere else. I've discovered, from working in human resources, once I finally got my foot in the door, that I was actually there for a bigger purpose. And I was able to serve people now, many people from many walks of life. And that was my first lesson in understanding personalities and understanding different cultures and background, because as you get to talk to different folks, you learn a lot. And, landing in HR, that department, it gave me that ability to learn and change lives for the better. And for me, that was one of the things I've always been passionate about, is changing lives. And I realized from working in HR, I have that ability to do that. So I enjoy it. I love it. Never left since.
That's awesome. I'll be honest with you. To date, I don't think that I have interviewed any human resources professional that went to school to get a degree in human resources.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
We just don't.
I think I said that once before on another interview, and I'm going to have to go back and check my facts, but and I don't know why that is, but it's interesting that people you started out in marketing and ended up in HR. I've had people who said they started out to be a teacher. They wanted to be a school teacher and ended up in HR. And
Amazing.
Some people, I've interviewed people in hospitality that started working at the hotel, maybe at the front desk, and got moved into HR and loved it and stayed there. So yeah, I think it's awesome. It's a position that not everyone can do successfully, I don't believe.
Right.
Because if you don't have the right heart, or what I call the spirit of service, I don't think you'll be successful. I think you could get by, but I don't think you would be successful. And the spirit of service is because you want to help people. And you said that 3 or 4 times in your response to the question, is to help people. So yeah, I think that's what makes everybody overall, in general, I think that's what makes everybody successful, no matter what they do, is that spirit of service. But there are certain positions in certain industries, healthcare, hospitality, both of those. If you don't have that, you just have the job. You don't have a career.
You don't have a career.
Yep.
Exactly. And it takes a different heart and mindset to actually have a career in human resources, because of the things you see and what you have to deal with on a daily basis. You really do have to have that spirit. That was actually good, Randy. I like that. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Tell us a story about one of your greatest accomplishments so far in HR.
Many great accomplishments. To pinpoint one, I would have to say, it's kind of hard, Randy, bear with me, to just pick one. But my greatest accomplishments is I've successfully completed hundreds of high volume mergers and acquisitions. In the course of 1 year, I think I've probably acquired over 100 physician practice in less than a 1 year time, high volume practices. Yeah. And, that was a big challenge, because when I was given the opportunity to do that, I didn't realize it was going to be anywhere from 5 to 10 a month, which meant I was very busy and I didn't sleep. But you know what? They all were merged successfully. And with any merger or acquisition, there comes culture change, shock change, rebranding of images from one side to the other side of the world. And it's all part of what I do. And I'm very, very proud of that. And it was a huge, huge thing at the time for me, because I've never had to do so many acquisitions in 1 year. But I knocked that out the park. So that was a big thing. And I do want to add, I know you said one, but the other thing that I'm really, really, absolutely, absolutely proud of is, as HR, and I'm sure you've heard this before, is being able to find innovative ways to deliver exceptional HR customer service on minimal budget.
Of course.
Because they always, always cut HR budget when it comes time to cut anything.
Exactly.
We are the first to get cut. And I pride myself on not really needing a huge budget to carry out the service that my department delivers.
Yes.
So
Well,
that's another great accomplishment that I would like to add.
okay.
To that.
So that everybody understands the merger and acquisition piece, you worked for a company who their method of growth was acquiring already existing companies.
Exactly. Yes.
So those employees that worked for another company now work for your company, and you have to basically onboard them as a new hire. It's a different process because they probably don't need the same how to do the job training, but they do need the, hey, new company, new culture training. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that is, I don't personally have that experience in healthcare, but I did in hospitality, and that is a beast.
Yes. Beast is an understatement.
I mean, it's nuts. It's just nuts.
It's more than nuts, especially when you have to, from a human resources standpoint, it's our job too as well, when you have to look at positions and make sure you're not duplicating positions on both sides of the world.
Right.
So that's a whole nother task within itself, is to say, okay, who do we have here and what's going to be the roles and responsibilities, if any.
Yeah. And then you have to deal with, well, we used to do it this way. Oh, really? Did you? Well, guess what? Not now.
Now you're doing it this way.
Yeah.
See, and that right there, there's a technique with that message. And these are the things that we have to now start training the leaders of the new organization how to deliver the right message.
Right.
To make it seen that this is an opportunity. And that's another thing that I'm really proud of, is having everyone see the opportunity in the merger and not the threat.
And yeah, exactly. We as human beings tend to look at things negatively for some reason. It's the fight or flight thing. It's like, change, oh my gosh, this can't be good. When in fact, in most cases, at least when all the mergers and acquisitions I went through, and I was the same way. I admit it. It was like, oh my gosh, I'd worked for Marriott for 7 years.
I love Marriott.
Yeah, I'd worked for them for 7 years, and then a company bought the hotel that I was working for, and I was devastated. I mean, It was horrible. I couldn't believe it because I was such an engaged employee. They used to tease me and say I had an M for Marriott tattooed behind my ear. Yeah.
See, we love employees like you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was that guy. I was, back in the day when my dad was working and when my grandfather was working, that was a company man. That's what they called him then. That's a company man, because you were engaged. I loved what I did. I enjoyed every second of it. And they sold me. It was horrible until I found out the new company that I went to work for was even better. And then it was like, oh, wait a minute. I wasted that, however many weeks it was of me wallowing in misery and thinking my life was over and what am I going to do?
Right.
And then I got to know this new company and I was like, wow. This is
an opportunity.
This is an opportunity. This isn't a bad thing.
Right.
So, yeah. And you're right. To be able to, and quite frankly, they did it in the worst possible way of communicating it. So to have that in place and to know how to teach the leaders to communicate that type of a change is vital.
Communication is key.
Yes.
To any
everything.
Successful merger. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Tell us what you do to help employees grow.
I believe that you have to start managing like a mentor. You know, everyone needs someone that they could look up to, who could help them get to the next level and the next stage in their career. So I've always managed like a mentor and support the employees and incorporate employee development in everything that I do, every single thing that I do. And because I am a certified corporate life coach, I do take a different approach to achieving corporate health. And that one of the things is I believe that people in positions are the true assets of the organization. So I spend a lot of time learning, what do employees want?
Right.
What will make them happy? You know, what is the one thing that's always on the top of their list? And what has always come back is learning and growth and development. That's what everyone's looking for. So I pride myself on mentoring employees through the process, and I also teach managers and leaders to also become mentors in the employee's life.
So you how do you find out what the employees want?
You ask them. Was that a trick question?
Oh no, it's just amazing.
I know.
So many people don't do that.
They don't. It's so simple. It's just ask them. And if you spend time, you know, one of the things, here's a little trick that I used to do with my staff. I would have, you know, you have your team meetings where everyone's involved, yes.
Right.
But you don't get a lot of from each individual employee in the team meetings because, you know, some people think they don't want to ask a stupid question or they don't want to, you know, keep raising their hand or look like they don't know what they're talking about. So you have to get them on a personal note. So I would literally have one-on-ones with each of my team member once a month where it's not about, what are you doing? Where are you with this? Well, tell me about your project. It was more so, how can I help you?
Right.
How did you think, you know, last month is there anything that you felt, you know, you were successful, you want to do differently? Is there something I could do better to assist you? I would just have that dialogue and that conversation, and you will learn so much from having those one-on-one catch-up time with your staff. And they will start to share, here's what I really want to do. Here's the one thing I would love. I'm working on this, you know, I'm actually doing this after work. This is what I do on my spare time. And this is what's going to help you know what they want.
Unbelievable. All you have to do is ask.
Just ask.
Hey, I bet that also goes back to your accomplishment of exceptional service on a little to no budget. All you got to do is talk to them. Wow, that costs no money at all.
No money at all. Just maybe 30 minutes of your time.
Yeah, and you gain knowledge about what they want. You increase their respect in you and the company because you've taken the time to acknowledge that they're important. Mm-hmm. And all that for nothing. Wow.
For nothing. Free.
Freebie. All the good stuff is free.
Yes.
Okay. Tell us about a time when you've helped an employee overcome a challenge.
I think the most recent one, I think I'm helping employees overcome challenges every single day. The most recent one that comes to mind is I once had an employee, well, you know, with the mergers and acquisition world, there comes new executives and C-suite, and there was one really, really, really difficult CFO that just did not take the time to understand the new family that he was entering in, and he wanted to manage the same way that he always has. Right. So it didn't really work for, you know, the new team that he was joining. And one of the things I had to teach him, you know, sometimes, you know, that saying, you can't teach a old dog new tricks.
Right.
It was that situation where I had to really take a step back and say, okay, how can I help him? Because he really did want the help. He just didn't understand how to go about fixing it or go about making it happen, or he didn't know the first step.
Right.
Not only did he not know the first step, it wasn't registering no matter what I did. So I literally had to now take a step back and teach the old dog a new trick in a tricky way where he didn't realize he was being taught.
Right.
So one of the things was now actually sitting down and showing him, going over each personality that he is dealing with, because that's what he was missing. He didn't understand the personalities of the people on his team.
Right.
So I literally had to take that time to say, here is a employee, and this is her personality type. Give him scenarios, explain how the outcome could have been differently, even monitor and watch him through meetings, provided him with feedback. Here's how you could have approached that differently. She would have had a different response if you said this way. You said it great, but the way you communicated the message, that's what sent her over the edge. All you had to do is this. So that was it's time consuming, but it was necessary.
Right.
And what ended up happening was he ended up becoming loved by everyone.
Wow.
Which was, I was shocked myself. Because it was a huge turnaround, because it was such a bad situation, because everyone threatened to quit. This is where we started, where everyone was saying, I'm done, I'm finished, right? And then they ended up, not only am I working on him, I also had to work on the employees as well to kind of see his point of view and his perspective.
Right.
So I did spend a lot of time communicating on both ends, on both angles, not only just to the individual, but as well as the employees and that were going through the issues with him. So it worked out well. But that was very difficult time for me.
That, I would imagine the old dog new tricks thing sometimes is very, very, very difficult.
It is. It really, really is. And this is where, as HR professionals, we have to get creative and start thinking outside the box and say, well, okay, I have to overcome this challenge, and how am I going to do it?
Exactly.
So it worked out, and now I know what to do going forward.
There you go. So you mentioned that you had to also work with employees. That kind of leads me into my next question is, what type of training do you feel is most important for your employees?
Great question, Randy. I think you have to train your employees to think like visionaries, especially your leaders. Teach them how, their department interrelates with the others, and how one broken area in their department may be affecting other departments. And that's the one thing we never do. We always come in with, the new hire orientation that gives everyone the basic about the company, the policies, the procedures, who the leaders of the company are. But we never really talk to them about, here's how your role is important. Here's how your role will affect the other departments. And here's why we all need to work together as a team. Because when one area is broken, it's like a domino effect. It affects the rest of the organization. And I think that's an important conversation to have.
Yes, that is a crazy important topic. Mm-hmm. Interdepartmental cooperation and communication is an issue across the board.
Yes.
And I think what you touched on is exactly one of the reasons. I can remember when I first started working in hotels, I started as a part-time front desk clerk, and it gave you Marriott gave you amazing training. I mean, they taught.
I was going to say that to you when you said Marriott. I love their customer service.
Oh, well, they're just this is back in the 80s now. Okay. So this isn't currently, I have no idea what it's like now. I would assume it's still world class, but back then it was just amazing. I mean, you didn't talk to a customer or a guest until you'd been through a couple of weeks of training. And that was for a part-time hourly position. That wasn't for a manager. That was for a part-time hourly position. I spent hours and hours and hours in the back office learning how to do their computer programs. I had to take spelling tests to.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was crazy. I mean, it was it was awesome. I happened
Now,
to,
you see,
yeah.
Marriott cares about their brand.
Oh, very much so. And back then and still today, the motto was take care of your employees and they will take care of your customers, guests, bottom line, whatever you want to fill in there. That was Mr. Marriott Sr.'s whole philosophy on running a business. But, I mean, it was just amazing to me when I got into the hotel that here's this enormous hotel. Well, it was enormous to me. It was like almost 400 rooms, 360 some rooms, I believe it was. But they had the organization split into two separate pieces. They had food and beverage, and then they had what they called ROARs, rooms and related services. So they, by design, created two different entities in one, which they should have never done, in my opinion. Because, they even had us compete against each other at company picnics and stuff. It was food and beverage against ROARs in softball games. Which, okay, I like the competitive nature of that, but again, you're splitting up a group that you need to have together. Because the communication then was competitive, the cooperation was then competitive, everything was like that. So interdepartmental communication and cooperation is, if people understood that, I think if they did like you just said, train them from the very beginning. Here's why your role is important, and here's why you need to do this, because if you don't do this, then other people over here in this other place won't be able to do their job right. Awesome.
And we never have this conversation. I'm telling you. It's so important. But a lot of organizations don't do it.
I read comments on a daily basis that say they might not spell it out in such a manner that it says interdepartmental communication is poor, but front desk will say something like, the sales team needs to let us know that there's a group coming in.
I just love it.
So we can be prepared for
You're
it.
so right. That's exactly what they do.
And I mean, they're not.
It would be nice if.
They're not using the words we use. They're not saying we need more interdepartmental.
Right.
They're saying, if these people over here in this other department would.
Yep.
In banquets is a great one. If the restaurant would quit stealing all of our spoons.
Right.
We'd have plenty of flatware. But
then that's where HR comes in, because then now we have to be the one to, define what is it that they're saying. Exactly. When we could have nipped this in the bud if when we hired them, we told them, hey, you know what? It's really important. Here's how your job fits into the scope of the entire business. Exactly. And you know what I've gone as far as to do, Randy? I've had them spend time in the other departments. I think it should be part of the training. I'm
a huge proponent of cross training.
Yes.
It's not just beneficial for the employee, because now the employee has skills that they didn't have previously, which they appreciate. They respect you for that. They respect the company for that. They've grown. They want growth. They want more knowledge. They want more experience. But it's beneficial for the company, because if I have employee A who's cross-trained in multiple jobs, and employee B calls off because of a car wreck, flat tire, sick cat, whatever, employee A can then take employee B's position over for the shift with no problems whatsoever. But if employee A is not cross-trained, then we have a problem, because then we have to either have a supervisor come and do the job, we have to have a manager do the job, then they can't do their job, then they get behind, or the most popular thing now, let's have everybody else do more work. So, hey, guess what? Instead of you doing just your job today, you're going to do twice as much as you normally do. and we're going to split it up.
Employees love that.
Yeah, and
Employees
in hospitality, it's typically housekeeping. So a housekeeper calls off. Now we've got 15 rooms that housekeeper was going to clean. So they're not here. Supervisor's going to clean 3 of them. The manager will clean, 2 of them. So now we've got 10 rooms that we divide amongst the other 6 housekeepers. So their workload goes up because a housekeeper had a unfortunate incident or whatever. So you're
teamwork.
Yeah.
Teamwork.
Yeah. Tell me what you think makes an employee outrageously awesome.
I think someone who's always looking to become a better version of themselves. Someone who can get through a crisis and come out on top. I look for that, how you handle a crisis. And it goes back to, what I was saying earlier, view the crisis as an opportunity and not a threat. Someone who's able to do that to me is like outrageously awesome.
Yep.
Because how well they respond to pressure and change, it will make them outrageously awesome.
I know, right? It's like, how do you handle the customer that's screaming and yelling at you because somebody made, not you, but somebody made a mistake?
Yes.
That person that can calmly communicate and solve and resolve and turn that customer around. Wow. They are awesome, aren't they?
They are awesome, and they make a difference because that customer is going to remember how they were treated by that employee. Now, they might not remember the employee's name, but they will remember the company, and they'll say, you know what, Marriott, their guest services, and then the whole entire department just got credit because they said guest services.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I've got we all frequent, I don't know about New York City. Do you guys have convenience stores, or do you just?
Our convenience stores are called corner stores.
Corner stores, right. Well, it's kind of funny because that's what we call them too, even though they're not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you've got like little tiny grocery stores.
Yes.
That you can go in and get a soda or whatever, chips, whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have a convenience store that's outside of the community that I live in. And it's called Racetrack, and that's
I know Racetrack.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a gas station convenience store. They have a grill. They serve hot dogs. They have frozen yogurt. They have walk-in beer cooler. Everything a convenience store has. Those people they understand. I've never been in there, not once, in the year and a half that I've lived outside of the store, and I've been in there a lot, and they've never once not delivered service. Not once. I mean, and you don't know if you're talking to the manager or if you're talking to an hourly employee because they're just phenomenal. So, and talk about pressure. They got 40 people lined up out the door and cars honking their horn in the parking lot because everybody wants gas. It's crazy.
That is key. I think we should start. That's another training everyone needs. How to respond to pressure.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh,
yes.
It's a big thing because everyone has a little bit of pressure in their career, in their life, and at some point.
Well, everybody's running around wearing the T-shirts now that say "Be calm and continue on" or whatever.
Stay calm, relax.
Yeah, exactly. Take it to you.
I say that every day. Actually, I have in my office on a cup it says, "Please relax."
Yeah.
And every now and then I have to hold it up to an employee and say,
please
without
relax.
saying anything, just please relax.
Yes. Take a moment. Breathe.
Take a moment. Breathe.
Yeah. Okay. Charece, one more question. This one isn't for me. This one is for somebody who would be listening that could be thinking about getting into HR, or they are new in HR, or maybe they're lost in HR and they don't know what to do. Give them some words of wisdom that will help them be successful.
I'm going to tell them what I live by, words I actually live by, because you need these words to function in human resources and in life, period, because we're all human and you're going to be dealing with people, no matter where you go, what you do. So I have a saying, And don't laugh, Randy. It starts out, become a gold digger in life. Yes, I said a gold digger. And this means always look for the gold in people and not the dirt.
Ah, wow. That is good.
Yeah.
I like that.
And that's what I do every single day. When
Yep.
someone steps in your office, through the frustration, you look for the gold all the time and you'll find it.
Yeah, everybody's got dirt. Everybody's got
Mhm.
gold too. Sometimes it's difficult to find that gold, but I love that. That is awesome. Become a gold digger. Awesome.
Hello? Okay.
You there? Did we lose you?
I'm hearing you again. Go ahead.
Okay, good. I thought we lost you there. Technical difficulties. Hey, that's gold digger. That's awesome. I love that.
Gold digger.
Yeah. Hey, this has been phenomenal. So much experience and knowledge and tips came from this. Everybody's going to love this interview. Just want to thank you again.
No, thank you.
Yeah, those of you who are listening who are not connected with Charece on LinkedIn, she's there. I'll spell her name so that you can find her easily. It's Charece, and the last name is Newell, Newell. Again, she is the Chief Human Resources Officer, also a certified corporate life coach at Your Healthy Reality, which is in New York. Thanks for everybody tuning in. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. That way you'll get a notification when we publish a new one. I hope everybody has an awesome day, and bye for now.
Thanks for hanging out with us. Please feel free to contact Randy with any questions about team building or employee engagement issues. Subscribe to this channel so you'll be notified when new episodes are published.